Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Travelers Podcast, episode 6? 6. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It is. That's great. It's been 12 weeks since we've started this. That's weird to think about.
We should introduce ourselves properly. My name is Logic Mage.
I am Super QGS.
And I'm Bramblery.
I'm Yu Ching.
And I'm Rex.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, good to have you guys on. So these are our two guests today. You and Rex, they are pretty new to the Travelers, which is one of the reasons why we picked them, just to get their perspective on things. And we'll talk to them a little bit about how they got into the Travelers and things like that later.
Yeah, and I'd just like to preface this episode that this is more of an experimental episode. Instead of like a main topic, we're kind of going to focus on like the experience of two players and see how that goes, as well as like discussing like current events and such. So if people like this format, we'll probably do it again in the future at some point, but...
Yep, it's all based on your guys' feedback, and we'd love to hear what you guys liked, what you didn't like. We're very open to anything you want, so
starting off is PFG became the second player post-release to hit the level 200. So that is a very big milestone for the Travelers. We now have two players that are over the 200 level mark. Of course, PFG was the first one to get 200, or actually the only person to get 200 in pre-release, but since release, Lightning beat him to the punch. However, PFG has stated that he doesn't plan on altering his bot, so there might not be any battle between Lightning and PFG.
If you recall, last week we were talking about how we anticipated there being sort of a conflict between those two players to sort of so you could optimize their bot the best and overtake each other. But it doesn't seem like PFG is too interested in following up on that at all, which is totally fine, but it's just something that won't be happening.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's kind of weird not seeing PFG at the top of the leaderboard, but hey, I guess we'll get used to it.
Yeah, it's really weird.
PFG's been at the top of the leaderboard since I started playing, pretty much, except for like a few days when release started. So it's really crazy, but Lightning's, I tell you what, with his optimizations, he's knocking it out of the park. I don't know if you could get more optimized than he is right now. Quite a while ago, there was an interesting thing in the patch notes noted that I'm actually very surprised that it took us this long to find. But Taragadude said that he added new events that would make it easier to pass between different puzzle elements. And we theorized that there would be some kind of thing in the world that would let you go to the corner faster, because that's where you get the shard for one of the puzzles. And we recently found out what that thing was.
Yeah, it was a big surprise for me because it was bigger than I thought, and I thought it would be something like Doctor Who, where you just go into a telephone booth and then you get teleported.
Yeah, you're right. And it was like a huge thing. Like, we haven't seen a lot of multi-tiled structures. Normally it's just like an H, or like it's one character. But it was almost like built out as like a square and then like a corner, which was really cool to see.
At first, didn't like everybody kind of think it was a little suspicious, like, oh, did somebody alter this photo kind of thing?
Yeah, I think who was the one that found it? It was Definitail? I forget how to say his name.
Definitely, I think it's just definitely.
I remember we had a group chat set up, and I forgot who put it forward. I think it might have been Meepcom, but he was very skeptical of it. He thought the screenshots were doctored somehow, and that he was passing off the event as something that Chogody would have written, but in reality it was just a fake.
Yeah, Meep was very insistent that it was fake at first. I don't really know why, like, he was so sure it was fake, but hey.
Yeah, I mean, like, the event text and everything lines up with kind of what Chogody likes to write, right? You know, his kind of style, so it seemed good to me. Because something like that's a lot harder to fake than just, you know, doctoring a screenshot, in my opinion, so...
I think the main thing was that the font was kind of weird on his end for whatever reason. The font was not the normal sized for the Pentagon things. And
I mean, like, we've seen fake event screenshots before. Like, that's nothing new. Namely, Super's screenshot where the Traveler sees a flaming lawnmower hurtling towards them and then dies upon its impact. But, you know, just to put forward the idea that, you know, it could have been faked, I guess, if they really wanted to, but it wasn't, so...
Logic, do you remember that fake screenshot we made of the exploding pyramid? Remember that?
I remember that. That was funny.
Oh my god, Toro.
It wasn't like, oh, okay, yeah. I don't know. This might be a bit more work than is sort of mandated, but please put some screenshots up of Toro's reaction to
Oh
that.
my
It was
god, he
very
was
hilarious.
panicking. I kind of
Oh,
felt
it was
bad,
great.
but
Wait, I forget what happened. I might be out of the loop on this.
so me and Logic, or one of the two of us, made it to one of the early ideas for what we assumed would be the exploding pyramid step.
Oh
So we went and took and faked the screenshot of this of like the pyramid, and we like changed the chords on it or whatnot, and we posted it into Puzzle Spoilers. Like, hey, we found it, and Toro like freaked out, like saying, "No, like don't touch it. Like that's not supposed to be
Yeah,
there."
like all caps was like, no, something's horribly wrong.
yeah. I remember that. That's
Oh.
hilarious. Oh, but I guess I should go into what we actually found. So we get sidetracked so easily. But there is 2 events on the I think the only ones we found are on the southwestern axis down to the corner. There are giant structures that are some kind of teleporter that can teleport you most of the way there, all the way to the corner. So now I think it only takes like a day to get there now. Is that right?
No, that's I mean because you have to get to 150k, I think, at first, and that's already like 2 days.
Okay. But it's not nearly as long as 7 days is,
No, it cuts out a good portion of it.
which I have some mixed feelings about. I kind of wish it was a one-way teleporter, so you traveled there and then could be teleported back, because I think the walk back is kind of lame. But ideally, my personal opinion is that it should only teleport you back. It shouldn't teleport you there, because I feel like going there gives you a really good scope of the world. You're watching your character go for 7 days. You know how big the world is, and then you can kind of fit everything else into your brain of like, how far away is this? It takes days to get there, etc., etc. I feel like it's a good introduction just to like really tell. It's like it's a challenge. Like going to the world border is a challenge, and I feel like, I don't know. That's my personal opinion, but it is definitely cool that we don't have to wait 7 days anymore just to get a shard.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up because I do like the idea of just going and going and going and be like, dang, how huge, how like large is this entire world? And you just keep going and it's bigger and bigger than you thought it was. And then eventually you get to like the very, very corner. You get the shard, and then if you solve the clue, then most players will kind of imagine, oh, I have to take this to back to spawn to see what it does. And then it's just like a long grind back from there because by then like the mystique's already worn off. I think a teleporter that just takes you directly back to spawn would be a lot better in that instance as a one-way teleportation.
Yeah, definitely. My main 2 points against it being 2-way is just you lose the scope of the world, and then you lose kind of the the sense of pride and accomplishment after going all that way. Because then if you go to a wall legit, it doesn't feel as rewarding, because you could get to, there's an easier way to do it. In pre-release, one of the first goals that I set for myself was just like make it to the world border, and that was just kind of a fun thing. But then again, that was 10 times shorter to do that.
Breaking and shocking news: Lightning breaks the server for the 100th time.
So what exactly was the issue this time? I think it was spamming events or leaving event commands or something.
He was spamming interactions between his bots because they kept getting caught on each other or something like that. And apparently, also the way he was sending packets to move around was also a problem. So he was sending too many packets or something along those lines, and it was causing the server to like have a stroke. So
Okay, that makes sense. I wonder if there could be some kind of solution to that, because that's kind of more like an accidental DDoS almost. I don't know. I feel like it should, as a standard, bots should try to send packets out once a second, so that it's kind of like in with the tick system, it can handle it all. But if it was just like spamming, I don't know how his bot worked, but I'm assuming he's just spamming packets so that it could do what it needed to do.
The aftermath of the incident was pretty similar to the chipper wall, right? There's a lot of debate in the server over how holes should be handled with the bots now, how should we, change holes so that they're fair and they don't, overload the server with data. So there was a lot of discussion going on over that, and I don't want to say heated, but it got pretty. There was a lot of different points getting shot around. So
Definitely. And I think I kind of derailed it a bit from so the main issue was just performance for the server. But then I kind of started to talk about XP balance and things, which just got the conversation off topic. But I wonder if there could be something more that could be done to optimize. I don't know what the back end of the Travelers looks like, but if it could filter out packets that don't really need to be sent, like duplicates of packets or things like that. I'm not entirely sure how that would work.
I think if Toro do make an official API, then maybe it could be solved.
That would be really interesting because an official API would fix the packets problem, but it would also, I feel like Toro, it's pretty obvious that the game is designed around a vanilla playstyle, and bots have kind of his blessing, but it's not necessarily like condoned officially, if that makes sense. Like you're not going to get banned for it, but I don't think Toro exactly wants to think about bots while designing the game. And there's different points to if he should or not, but pretty historically he hasn't. It's been more about designing around the vanilla client, and then bots can do some fun stuff on the side.
Yes, but if he made an API, then it will improve the vanilla experience because it won't have people crashing the server and people lagging the server.
Yeah, that's definitely a very good point. I hope there's something that can, ideally there could be something done just in the back end that optimizes sorting through that stuff, but an API could definitely be a good solution to that.
Yeah, I mean, and plus the packet thing wasn't the only issue. From what he said, holes, like the amount of holes being dug and being left are actually problematic to some extent. Like in this case it was like the packet problem causing like most of the lag, but apparently holes are a problem as well, and he wants to kind of tackle it by removing XP from holes, which I don't think is a terrible idea, but I don't really see what else he could do to discourage holes being dug as much.
I definitely think that my ideal solution to this would be kind of like the first 30 holes that you dig in, like, I don't know, a day, or it could even be like 10. Like, no, I don't think anyone's really gonna dig more than 10 holes a day unless they're looking for actual materials, in which case they'll get materials anyway. But after that, you could stop getting XP, so bots would not be as encouraged to dig holes. Because I'm just thinking of, like, if the game gets big and XP botting gets really popular, just the amount of holes is going to be ridiculous. Just like there's not gonna be enough space on the server hard drive for it.
Yep, you absolutely need to consider that. If the game, if the game gets big, there's going to be bots no matter what. There's going to be huge botnets. Lightning is definitely on the kind of extreme end from what we've seen so far, but that thing is definitely going to only become more common, right, as the game becomes more popular. So,
and preserving server hardware and things is the top priority. I was talking a bit about XP balance, but that really is kind of a second-rate problem. The main thing is we just need to discourage, either find a solution so that holes don't take up as much memory. Maybe they could decay faster. If you dig a certain amount of holes, maybe they decay, or I don't know, something like that. I feel like there's a variety of solutions, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what kind of solutions are implemented and what solutions are invented and things like that.
Alright, I think we should leave that topic there.
Yeah, we'll just wait for you.
I feel like, yeah.
I'm gonna get some water. I'm not. I don't have to go anywhere. I'm just like drinking water.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Cool. All right.
My parents thought I went missing.
Oh no.
Where are you recording, by the way? Just like in like a closet or something?
In my bedroom, and usually I'm downstairs. We don't stay in the bedroom.
I see. Okay.
I'm in my bedroom. I should like.
Alright, so moving on from holes, XP, bots, and whatnot, we're kind of moving more into like the community section of this podcast, I guess. And I'd like to start off by stating that I have a video project that I am working on. Some people know what it is, like some people here know what it is. I don't want to say it publicly yet. I think it will be really cool once it's done, but I need help gathering footage. If there's anyone out there that would like to help me gather footage for this video, please let me know, and I will like give you like a list of things like in game that you could record. And I just need help. Like it's like it's not like a insane amount, but like it's enough that I would like to avoid doing it solo. So if anyone's able to record, wants to help me out, please let me know.
It's sort of like recording like travelers stock footage kind of thing, but there's like an order that is required. So yeah, just PM him if you are interested, because it's going to be really neat once it's done. I am already very excited for what it is, and yeah, go ahead and do that.
I know a little bit about it too, and it sounds like it's going to be really cool. So I'm definitely excited for that.
I hope it's gonna be like one of David Attenborough's documentary with Bram talking over us, talking about all the stuff.
Bram, you got to do that now.
The
fans
traveler
have
in its
demanded.
natural habitat. The wasteland. Dust and ash.
Hey, I guess y'all will see what it will be like once it's done, which probably won't be anytime soon, really. But hey,
Unless everybody helps Bram.
Exactly. If you want a new Travelers video, sign up today.
It's going to be very polished. I think the bar is being set very high for this one. So again, very excited for it.
Oh, absolutely! I'm going to be sending you everyone like involved with like the more major parts of it. I'm gonna be sending you copy after copy of like each edit of it. So be ready.
It's gonna be sweet. All right. So when I was making waffles, Taragadude asked me to say a line from Shrek about Donkey making waffles or something. And I think I've only seen Shrek once. And it was when I was really little. And so everyone yelled at me that I was uncultured and had to watch Shrek. So we made it a Travelers community event. And I am now cultured. I've seen the Shrek with my own two eyes. It was a pretty good movie. It's a lot of fun.
You observed the source of the memes.
I have. I actually. What's funny is like I've seen the memes a lot more than I've seen the movies. So a frame that was like from a meme would happen. I would be like, hey, I remember that from the Reddit, and it's pretty interesting.
It was a ton of fun watching it, honestly.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
I still can't believe you missed your opportunity to say, and in the morning, I'm making waffles.
I did react to it, though. I didn't know when it was happening, but I didn't even know if that quote was from Shrek 1 or if it was in a different movie.
Yeah, that was a very hilarious moment. So I'd actually forgot about that line prior to watching it, and that was pretty good.
But I would definitely do movies again. I'm really liking the Travelers community stuff. It's a lot of fun.
We're gonna do Shrek 2, and we're gonna make sure Taragadude can be there.
We will be doing Shrek 2,
100%.
and Taragadude will be joining us at his discretion, of course. But yeah, pulling a 180 here, Rex made a traveler's cake, pictured on screen.
I did. So actually, the way that came up, it was Super's birthday happened recently, and I was talking to him probably a few weeks before, and he was talking about how he didn't know what kind of cake he wanted for his birthday, and he came up with a traveler's cake and a Sputnik cake, and he went with the Sputnik cake. So I was like, well, what if I just made him a traveler's cake? So that's what I did.
Interjecting a bit here. So my grandma makes me a cake. It's amazing. She makes me a cake for me and my brother, a cake each year for our birthday. And I was thinking 2 cakes that would be cool would be a traveler's cake and a Sputnik cake. And I wanted the traveler's cake, but I was trying to kind of explain it to my grandma. I was like, it's this game. It's made of text, and she was not grasping the concept. So then I was like, okay, everyone knows what the Sputnik looks like. It's like a metal ball with sticks coming out of it. I'll do that. And it was a really awesome cake, But then Rex here surprised me and made a traveler's cake too, so I got to have both of my choices.
Heck yeah. And it was a process. Originally I was going to live stream it, and then it got a little too complicated on how much I had to do, so I ended up scrapping that, but I took a lot of pictures, so I'm glad it turned out.
It tasted really good, and that's the first ever traveler's food item. Wait, I guess the waffles predated,
The
but that wasn't
waffles.
really travelers themed.
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't have the brand associated with it.
But
Yeah, so that was a fun time. I originally had like no idea how to cut a cake, so that was very experimental in how to make it look like an ampersand. And it took me a while, but I thought it turned out really nice.
it
For
did.
whatever
It tasted
reason-
good too.
Sorry.
No, you're
If for
good.
whatever reason you can't see the video right now, or you're blind or something, it looks like an ampersand, so it's like a traveler, and it's got the characters on the sides that from items in the game and such. So that's really cool to see. It's got a lot of little details on it, which is really neat.
Yeah, and of course the lawnmower is front and center.
Yes, it is.
Oh, and related to the cake that we don't have on the topic list, you have some Travelers merchandise, I guess, now, right?
Yeah, I do. I have. It's actually right next to me. It's a traveler's shirt. So that was one of the things that I asked for my birthday, and my parents got me it, which was super cool. But now I can wear my traveler shirt in public. So if anyone happens to live near me and they see a nerd wearing a white shirt with a Courier New bold ampersand on it, now you know that is your pal Super QGS, so you can say hi.
Yeah, that is technically the very first Traveler's merchandise item. That is very crazy to think that. It must be, especially for Tarogany, to think that like something that he's done, as like a web game, has somehow influenced something to come into being, like physically as a shirt. That's very
Yeah,
strange.
I
to think
feel
about.
like even more so with the cake. Like if I made a game and I saw someone with like a birthday cake themed around a game that I made, that would just blow my mind. I can't imagine
That's like
how
super
cool that would be.
trippy.
And the fact that like it kind of all happened at once, like it was the birthday cake and the merch, it was and Toro, like I don't know, it all just happened all at once.
Well, we're gonna get
Toro-
into what happened to
Toro
Toro
said
in
he
a
was
little bit.
a Giga Chad. I think that was
Yeah.
a direct quote. Yeah, couldn't find that.
I actually, on another Discord, I just posted a screenshot of that. And I said one of my old favorite YouTubers has just called me a Giga Chad. I'm gonna first go into this next topic by saying that the world of the Travelers, has a seed to it. So that's similar to a Minecraft seed. And the seed is 10/07/2017. And that is probably we now know it stands for October 7th, 2017, which we weren't sure. We knew that it was a date, but we didn't know kind of what that date meant. And when we asked Taragadude, he said it was just a date that was personal to him. However, we now know what that date was that that was the day that he and his girlfriend started dating. And now October 7th, 2020, he has broke the news that he is engaged. He's gotten engaged to his girlfriend, and they are now fiancés.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to say this through voice yet, but congratulations, Traga, dude. I am very happy for you. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations, Taro.
That's
Congrats.
amazing.
I hope the best for you two.
Congratulations.
That's super cool. You haven't officially asked me yet, but I accept your request to have me as best man at your wedding.
Yeah, in advance.
And I assume that all us travelers are invited, so it'll be a great bash. We'll make another traveler's cake for the wedding cake. It'll be fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%. I'll be your wedding cake decorator. Heck yeah. I was actually at Super's house at the time when that happened. We were sending pictures of the cake, and we kind of, got distracted with that. And then at some point, we noticed, whoa, Taragadude just got engaged. And it was just pretty crazy to see.
It definitely is. It's super cool to see because he was one of my favorite YouTubers, and then he made one of my favorite games. It's just cool to see cool stuff happening to him.
Yeah, like the progression, the character arc. So I'm aware this is the called the Travelers podcast. However, this kind of does encompass all of Taragadude's exploits to an extent. So we're not going to be normally we're not going to be covering Puppet Master stuff on here, unless it's like something really big, like there's the I don't know, like maybe the Kickstarter comes out or something. But we felt that we'd mention it here because development is starting to ramp up and public builds are being released. So we wanted to touch on that just a bit here.
Yeah, so Puppet Master is looking really cool. The first thing that came out was the music, which was just amazing. I listened to that a lot. It's really good.
The music is excellent.
It's yeah. But the actual game's coming out and the engine that he's made looks really cool. I love the parallax, and this has been out for a while, but recently we've got a lot of playable demos that we could try. The newest of which was an actual parkour test and like movement test.
And to say that the initial reaction was positive would be overselling it a bit. A lot of people didn't like it.
I mean, I think it was a mixed bag. Like, personally, I can't say I was a fan of it at all, but there were a lot of people who were pretty happy with it.
I mean, yeah, I obviously I can't speak for everyone. I did not like it at all. I do not think that. I was initially skeptical when you said that a momentum-based Metroidvania was going to be kind of the direction they took it in. And then my feelings were kind of validated to some extent when I saw it. It's not to the like it's not as extreme as I thought it was, but I don't know how I feel about the sort of how momentum plays into a exploration-based platformer and stuff like the wall jump being jank. But apparently he's looking into fixing that and such. So I'll hold my judgment until I see the revised version.
Yeah, I mean, my frustration with it was definitely the controls. I mean, I felt like I had to, like, really, like, focus on, like, pressing the buttons, like, in the correct way, like, exactly, just to be able to move. Like, you shouldn't really have to be thinking that deeply in something that's supposed to be pretty seamless, but maybe I'm just bad at video games. Who knows?
Toro did mention that, obviously the platforming that was on stage there was it was very difficult. Probably not something you would see at the beginning of the game or anywhere like towards the where a player would start. As someone who's pretty darn okay at platforming and platforming games, I'd say that it was pretty hard to get to grasp with. But maybe I'm just in the minority there.
I kind of disagree with you guys a little bit. I really liked it. I do think that it could use some polish and some controls changes. My main thing was just having the up button right using the same hand as the left and right is just really weird. And then the thing with like sticking to the wall by hitting both arrow keys was a bit weird. But I think that those could be polished and changed, like something like pressing a different button to jump and then pressing a different button to like grab onto the wall. I think that just doing those two things would help the system a lot. And I think that there's a lot of interesting things that you could do with the momentum-based Metrovania, excuse me. I definitely think it needs polish, It's in its very earliest rendition. So things are going to be polished to flow better and things like that. But in my opinion, at least, the fundamentals seem really interesting. I can see things like momentum-based puzzles and things like that, where you have to, I don't know, like go over ice or something. And then he said he didn't want to do ramps, which I think ramps are cool, but that's just my opinion. But it seems pretty interesting. But definitely, I think community feedback is important for the game to be as good as it can be, and playtesting and things like that. So if you like the Travelers, maybe hop on the Puppet Master Discord, give your 2 cents in.
I should clarify, and I think I went into this in the actual PM Discord as well. But I don't think that the concept of a momentum-based Metroidvania is inherently flawed. It's just that it hasn't really been done to an extent that I think that like it's sort of a tried and tested concept, right? I don't think that it's really been experimented with enough in the hands of big budget studios or whatever that really kind of know what they're doing and have a lot of experience. I'm interested in seeing how the platforming kind of meshes with the actual gameplay, if that makes sense. I want to see how the momentum is put to good use with how the game functions, how puzzles are solved, I really just wanted to get a good grasp of that instead of sort of a stock generic test platformer, which I understand, is you got to use stuff like that for, testing purposes and stuff. But I really want to see all that in action and in its prime.
I think that would definitely be cool to see, and I'm excited about how unique it is. Kind of what you were saying is, there's not a lot of other games that are like Puppet Master, but that kind of makes me excited to see what can be done with a more momentum-based system and things like that.
Yeah, the fact that it's unique is undeniable.
Yeah, and I'd just like to clarify, like, despite my initial, disappointment with how it, controlled, I am so very excited to see where Puppet Master goes, for sure.
Definitely, it's an early beta. Movement's not going to be good the first time you create it. It takes testing. It takes, I forget. I'm pretty sure just the jump in Mario, the first one, took days, or it was a long time just figuring out how to make the jump feel right. So I think that some things should be put into that, and I think it could definitely be really cool. In my opinion, I like the fundamentals, but there's people thinking both ways, and I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be really good, but I also think feedback and things from the community are important, and I'm excited for it going forward.
Yep.
Our next kind of segment is more of an experimental thing we're trying, where we don't really have a defined topic other than just the people that we have with us. We're going to talk to them about what they think about the Travelers, what got them into the Travelers, just a general open Travelers discussion, specifically about the guests that we have on this time. So, first question I would like to ask each of you is, how and when did you guys discover the Travelers? And then the rest of us hosts can answer this too.
So, I first got into the Travelers, I think it was in June, and Super actually introduced it to me. The first time I opened it up, I was like, whoa, what is this thing? And I'm pretty sure I skipped through half of the text at the beginning, so I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't understand what the symbols were or what this was, and I thought it was really weird. And then I just didn't play it for another month and just kind of left it. But I started playing again when the whole wall debacle was going on, because Super was talking about it a lot, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And that's when I started paying attention to the storyline of it and that whole aspect. And since then, I've been playing.
Hear that, guys? The wall gets people to join the Travelers.
Wow.
How about you? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got into the Travelers because I was in a Discord server where Toro was a moderator, and he had his status set to that all the time, set to the URL of the Travelers. And one day I just saw him explaining to a 14-year-old how to play the game and how you're not supposed to look at it actively, and that piqued my interest because I could just leave it on during online class.
That's really cool.
And I later on I also found out about the botting aspect. Then that really hooked me because I like programming.
That's a really cool entry. I don't think you might actually be the only person, at least that I've heard of, that was introduced to the Travelers through Taragadude's Discord description. What do you call that thing?
The status.
Status. That's really cool. So, what Discord were you on with him?
I was in a YouTuber who's doing devlogs server. His name is Randall.
Okay.
Yeah, he makes this game called Arcane.
I think Toro was talking about this before, where some people from that Discord have actually migrated over to the game because of his status, and they've gotten interested in it. So that's really awesome to see.
That's super cool. How about you, Bram? Would you like to go into how you got into the Travelers?
I mean, I don't 100% remember. I know I joined pretty much day one, if not day one, maybe day two. But
if you go back in the Discord logs, you were actually the second person other than Tragadude to leave a message there. So I know that you were there pretty much in the beginning.
Well, he talked about it more in his general chat. Beforehand, he didn't have a dedicated channel to the Travelers for a few days. So I might not have been like one of the first people, and I don't know how many people joined. I really don't remember. It wasn't like a moment for me. It wasn't like, wow, this is going to have some like impact on my life. I remember thinking, it would be cool to like play a game since day one. That's always something I kind of wanted to do. It's like I always hear people like who have played like multiplayer games and such from day one have all these cool stories from like when they joined day one. I'm like, you know what? This doesn't look super interesting right now, but I have a good feeling about it. I mean, I'll join day one, kind of see what it's about, and I ended up sticking with it, obviously, and it's probably one of my favorite games. So I'm glad I did.
For myself, it was one day when I was thinking, man, I should do Mr. Rugged Dude. And then I looked back on his channel because I already seen that all his videos had deleted, and that was kind of sad to see because I've been following him for the better part of 1 and maybe like 1.5 to 2 years, and I saw that his stream where he came back for an afternoon and he did a stream where he was recreating his very first screenshot. And I saw that he had a game linked at the bottom. And he was talking about how he'd recently, gotten a job as a programmer, as a full stack developer. I think that's his title. And I started it and I was like, dang, this is weird. I don't know if this is my kind of thing. And it was just very, again, at the time it was very primitive. I think this is before even like it was before the building update. This is before you can even equip items, I think. It was before you could even like dig holes and stuff. You couldn't even drop items. All you could do was walk around and pick stuff up. You couldn't even drop it, right? You couldn't, if you pick something, you could not get rid of it unless you like put in an event or something.
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, that was crazy. And I kind of played on and off, and I was like, oh, this is okay, I guess. I didn't like have it running 24/7 either. And then one day, Bram private messaged me. And I was like, oh, hey there. And he was like, hey, do you want to trade for? I don't know. I don't even know what it was at this point. It was like rope or something.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
And then at that point we kind of just became connected with each other. And then that kind of led into the whole anchor trap incident. And since that point, I've just been playing this game nonstop. That was kind of the point that set everything in motion for me, at least.
I agree with that anchor trap. That's definitely like what finally like pulled me in all the way. Like I kept like getting more and more like interested as it updated, but that was definitely like that was like the defining moment with this game that kind of made me realize like how good it was.
I'm a lot newer than Logic and Bram are, but I am a pre-release player. How I got in was, again, with one of Trogadude's streams. I didn't actually catch the stream, but he actually left the VOD up, which he hadn't done for the last few, but I was able to catch the April 1st stream that just happened this most recent April. And I was watching it, I used to be subscribed to Trogadude. I was a fan. And so I actually never unsubscribed, so I got the notification in my inbox to see that a stream VOD was uploaded. I was listening to it, and then he mentioned The Travelers, so I was like, okay, I'll test it out. Looks like an interesting browser game. And I log in, and I actually was kind of hooked from the beginning. I wasn't hooked, but I thought it was interesting from the beginning. And I kind of started heading to 0-0. And then I was very confused when I got there because there was just like a bunch of players around and it seemed like there was nothing to do. And so I think I actually looked it up. I might have just went on Discord and did Control F. I forgot how I did this. I just saw that there was nothing like after the monument. That's just the end of the game for now because it was in pre-release. So I was just saying, okay, do I keep playing this or do I just do something else with my life? And it seemed like such like an inconsequential decision at that point. Just like, oh, there's some weird browser game. Should I keep playing or should I just put it down? But I decided to keep playing. I was like, I wonder what the world border looks like. So I started traveling to the east. And then I got involved on the Discord. I think I posted a meme was one of the first things I did. Just gradually started talking more and more. And then I just really loved the feel of the community, which made me stay. But it's really weird to think that just like such a small decision of weird browser game. Do I keep playing or do I put it down? And then now, like, it's such a big part of my life, and I just love this community, and it's really weird to think about.
Yeah, I think the community aspect of it is something that personally I haven't seen in a game before. Or if it is, it's like a lot different. The vibe is off. Like there's so many people you can't really feel like you're a part of it per se. Like Minecraft. The Minecraft Discord has an insane amount of people. This is kind of like a smaller community and hopefully, it'll get bigger someday and we'll get a lot more people because that'd be awesome for Targeted, but right now it's just kind of you can talk to people, you can watch Shrek with people
Yeah.
over the internet, and it's really cool to be a part of that.
I feel like if the game ever gets bigger, we're all gonna be really happy. But at some point, we might wish that it's gonna come back to sort of this time where we're all very tight knit and everyone knows each other.
I definitely agree with that. I think we should really. I am excited for when it gets big, but I definitely think we should appreciate because this is like the best online community I've ever found. It's really really cool.
Yeah, it's not mainstream at all, but it's like everyone's super respectful, and I love it about that.
It's such a good community, and kind of like so. I was a Half-Life fan before Half-Life Alyx was announced, and the community before Half-Life Alyx was announced and the community after it was announced was quite a bit different. And it was cool to see the community get so much bigger, just like overnight. But at the same time, it was kind of sad because you're like, it's never going to be quite like what it was before. And that's why I think we should definitely appreciate how things are now. Because once we're super rock stars with our podcast, 5 million views each episode. But anyway, I think I'm excited for the future, but I'm also really happy about where things are now.
The second question we have here is, what appeals to you about the Travelers? I think we already kind of answered that in a way.
Yeah, I think we did. Just mainly the community, but if anyone has anything to add to that, you can go right ahead.
I do a little bit. So I really, really love like English and literature and, stories and such. And the fact that, you can be a part of this game where there's not so much a visual aspect, it's more about like your own interpretation of the writing it's just really cool to me because I've never seen that done before, especially in like a little browser game, everything is just kind of based on the description and Toro's writing. And that's kind of what's kept me. I really just love that aspect of it.
It almost feels like a choose your own adventure game in virtual form. That's kind of what I can most related to.
Yeah, it's like a text adventure, but kind of it's more. I feel like there's more mechanics to it. It's like you take the picturing it in your mind of text adventures and combine it with more conventional game mechanics of RPGs and things like that.
Yeah,
and put them together in a really neat way.
It's like this awesome marriage between choose your own adventure books and like D&D or something.
Yeah,
it's cool.
How about you? What do you like about the Travelers?
I like the community and botting.
Botting is definitely it's controversial, I will admit that, but it's a lot of fun, and you can learn a lot of just by tinkering around with the insides of the code, and it's really fun to optimize things. And that's a wing of the game that I don't think everyone will appreciate, but those that do will get a lot out of it.
What do you guys see the future of the Travelers looking like?
That's an interesting question. I actually haven't thought about that much. I don't know, because I feel like if somebody, like a YouTuber or somebody big kind of, does a stream of it or something like that, that could definitely influence how many like players are online or how many people join the Discord or something like that. But for some reason, I can't really see it being bigger than what it is now. And I hope that it gets that way because that'd be awesome, but it feels very like comfy where it is. And I don't know if I've ever really thought about it getting any bigger.
That's interesting to me because I do feel like it's going to get pretty big sometime in the future. I don't know when that will happen or how big it will get, but I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of interesting things to it. And I feel like a lot of the times when I show it to friends or something like that, they're they're really interested in it. I feel like it has a lot of it's weird. It's niche, but it's also has a lot of things that are really appealing about it that I think people will really like. And I think it just needs kind of a bigger platform to stand on, and a lot of people will gravitate towards it.
Yeah, personally, I only see the game growing larger as the puzzle progresses. Maybe after it's solved, it kind of drops off. That makes sense to me. But until then, I can't really see interest in it waning at all. I think it's only going to go up and up.
I definitely agree with that. Even just since release, it used to be on the Discord, you would always see, it was like yellow tags were really rare. But now, like, just seeing people with like orange, yellow, or red tags are super rare. There's a ton of people that have joined post-release that are just it's really interesting to see how the community's grown.
Yeah, there was a point before release where it was just very dry. It was like me and Bram, and like occasionally Target and Super, but we were like the only people that were just talking around for a little while. It's just us. But now it's grown to the point where I do struggle sometimes to keep up with all the conversations that are happening, so that's cool to see.
Yeah, I definitely struggle to keep up nowadays. Sometimes I'll click on a channel and, like, thinking I had read it all, and then I see, like, another, like, 25 messages I hadn't seen. So,
I try my best to keep up with everything, but sometimes I have to skim conversations now. That's what I do.
Same.
Which is definitely a milestone. I remember Toragid said, "It's like I officially cannot keep up with all the conversations in the game anymore."
I remember him saying that too, actually. This is kind of really random, but I'm actually at level 99 right now. And so that's kind of interesting that it happened to fall on today. But it's crazy to think how I started off, like, level 1, didn't really think about getting to a level 100 or anything like that. But, in less than a day, I'm going to be level 100. And I think that's really insane to see just how far I've come personally in the game and how I've stuck with it for that long.
That's super cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. But I'm super excited about that, and I'm really happy that I stuck with it.
Similar to that, that just kind of made this pop into my head. I remember very specifically saying that once I hit level 100, I wouldn't really be grinding the game anymore. But here I am at level 168, running this game almost 24/7 still. And I did not see myself doing this, but hey, gotta stay on the leaderboard, I guess.
I haven't been grinding that much because I was grinding to get on the leaderboard and I kind of stopped. I should probably do that again or else someone's gonna catch me. I remember in pre-release I grinded to level 101 and then stopped just because I wanted to be one above Bram.
Yeah, I was pretty upset when I noticed that.
I'm sorry.
Oh, and then Super, didn't you like not make it onto the release top 10 for level 100 or something?
I didn't. And so okay, I kind of took like a month break where I was still kind of participating in the Discord a bit, but when we had no idea what to do to find the spires, I just like didn't really play very much. So you might remember like during the wall thing, you're like, "Hey, we need your account. We need a high level account back." And I'm like, "Guys, I'm level 50. I don't know how much help I'm gonna be."
Yeah, well, like, we needed every hand we could get, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean the spire, as you said, like the spires were a very slow burn. We a lot of people I think kind of lost interest during that story arc of the Travelers, but
We were just being dumb, but we figured it out. And I think we have more people now that are more equipped to solving puzzles. We've got a ton of people that are really interested in that stuff. So I feel like we can get through that a lot better. And there's more community stuff happening to keep people's interest up. But that's kind of the main time I've taken a break from the Travelers, was just during that period. But yeah, so then I didn't get level 100 and I was pretty close. I was like I didn't get like the username, which is fine because I've got my purple username. It wouldn't have changed anyway, but I'm still miffed I didn't get the rank. That's right though.
Speaking of ranks, I think I have the most ranks in the Discord, like, out of anybody. I don't know if that's true, but
you're the most decorated.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that is probably true.
Yeah, that's right. I have 4. Bram has 5. If I
5,
really
yeah.
wanted to, what I could do is I could just donate like $20 to Trogadu, get the donator roll, and then boost the server, and then I'd have 6 ranks, thereby passing Bram.
See, but if he did the same thing,
I could do the same thing.
That's true. But then
But
he'd have
will
to spend
I?
money.
I won't, no. So, not currently, at least.
Or I could just solve a clue at some point, and then we'll be tied forever.
That's true.
Assuming neither of us solves another clue, but we'll see what happens.
Get on
You gotta
that,
be
Roger,
the
come on.
first to solve the puzzle to get your extra rank.
Oh, that's true.
Where's-
It will be top 10 for solving the puzzle, won't it? Oh
Ooh.
boy.
Well, probably. We haven't confirmed that, but I would assume that there's a rank for that.
That makes the most sense to me, yeah.
So, might be a bit off topic, but for the top 10, if you solve the puzzle, is nobody just gonna say anything about it? Because normally people are pretty forthcoming with the information about the puzzles.
I imagine if somebody solves the puzzle, they'll be very much gloating about it in the chat. So we'll see what happens then. And I'm pretty sure that whoever wins the puzzle first is going to have like a super exclusive, mega important rank or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, as is Traveler's tradition, we're pretty good about sharing information, but we always gloat about it a little bit first.
You know, have a waffle stream before.
Yeah, as is
Exactly.
typical.
Final topic of the day is a viewer suggestion, I guess. Less of a question this time, but we were asked to debate the pressing matter of spawnfish versus Spawn Australia by Definitely. And I'd just like to start by, I guess everyone state what you think the spawnfish is, and if you're delusional and think it's Australia.
We should probably clarify where this debate stems from before actually getting into it.
Yes, and also I feel really dumb right now because I've always read that name as Definiteo, and now I feel really bad.
I've always read
Tally.
that definitely.
Whenever they
That
join,
makes sense, but
whenever they join voice chat, I always just call them deaf. Now I feel deaf.
Yeah, I think it's just supposed to be a weird way to spell definitely, but I might be wrong.
Natalie. I don't know.
who knows? But so yeah, we should. Where did this debate start? I don't even remember at this point.
Well,
All right, so we've been around for a while, so we can kind of answer that. So in the original OG seed, back when the Travelers was 3 cycles, or no, it was 3 seconds per cycle. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Back in the game, it was very, very slow. There was a seed where if you went directly up after leaving spawn, you'd find a structure that Trogadu himself had actually named the spawnfish, because it looked like a fish. So now that the Travelers is released, that seed has returned. It was previously gone when the game updated to 1 second per cycle, but it's back, and the fish is back with it. However, its tail has been severed, and now some people are thinking that instead of being a fish, the structure looks more like Australia, with the severed tail representing New Zealand. So there's been a huge debate over whether or not that's kind of valid. Some people are calling them heretics. You be the judge.
well, what is everyone's opinion on what the spawnfish is?
I have a lot to say about this, but I'll go last.
Personally, I still think that it looks like a fish. It's spawnfish. And spawnfish just flows better than Spawn Australia. Like, let's be real.
I think it's Australia. It looks just like Australia. How I don't understand how people could think it's a fish.
Oh,
Come on, you. I thought you were cool. You let me down like this. Come on.
Man,
No, I'm
we're
kidding.
just gonna have to cut out all of his audio from the podcast.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Could you send a picture of the spawn fish or spawn Australia?
Yeah, we'll have it on screen.
let's get it in the chat, just.
Just a refresher.
Oh, Lightning WB is gonna see this and he's gonna put his 2 cents in. I swear.
I'm going to ban him if he says Spawn Australia.
For those of you who aren't in the podcast Discord, Lightning has a lot to say even when he's not involved with that episode. I think like half of the messages in the general channel are from Lightning.
We love you, Lightning.
So there's the severed one, I think.
Right, here we are.
still looks like Australia to me.
Alright, and here is spawnfish. This is the original spawnfish.
All right, I have a bit of a tangent to go on. So would anyone like to speak before I do?
Yeah, I guess I'll provide my opinion because I think I'm the only one who hasn't spoken on it. Originally, I was convinced it was a fish, no doubt about it. But as time has passed, I think my faith in that argument has weakened a little bit because I don't know if any guys looked at a map recently, but it does look a lot like New Zealand. That little thing there. I really want it to be a fish, but I think my argument for that is kind of crumbling a little bit as I speak.
Wow, that's crazy, Super. I didn't realize we were the only two hosts left with the podcast.
That's real crazy. Bram, wow. Who was the well, actually, no, we've always been the only hosts. I don't know what you're
yeah,
talking
I
about.
guess so.
The co-hosts. I don't remember anyone else. So, okay. Now for my tangent. So I've been thinking about this a lot. And Logic, I respect your opinion, but you're just blatantly wrong. I'm sorry.
Okay, I didn't put my opinion forward one way or the other. I just said
You
there are
ju- well-
points for either side. You know, as is there as to any argument, right?
Yeah, but the points on the other side are wrong, Logic. 'Cause-
Wait, don't you
Oh.
see the map Tanzania? Wait, what's the country name?
I could see where somebody might think that it could be possibly Australia, but of course that's an outrageous thought because it is a fish.
Wait, Tasmania.
It might resemble countries, but that does not mean that it is okay. So
There's that small island, Tasmania, right under this Australia.
I do admit there are certain parallels to that area of the world. However, okay, let's take a real life example. So Taragadude, the owner of the game, called this mountain the Spawnfish. So he gave this mountain the name Spawnfish. That's what it was officially named. You can go on the subreddit. One of the oldest posts is just called Spawnfish, and it's a picture of this mountain. So in real life, there was a mountain called Denali in Alaska. And somewhere along the way, they're like, let's rename a mountain. Let's rename it to Mount McKinley. But then everyone was like, actually, no, that's a bad idea. Because, like, it's a mountain. Like, you can't just rename like, I think McKinley was, like, a president or something. I don't even remember. But you don't just get, like, a mountain named after you because you're, like, there's a lot of presidents. You don't get in that mountain just because you're a president. So they're like, no, we're going to change it back to Denali because that's just the mountain's name. You can't just go around changing mountain names willy-nilly. That's bogus because, you know, it's a landmark. So if you have an established name for a landmark, you can't just change the established name for the landmark. It causes confusion. Also, I would like to address the controversies that they have been severed. So here's the thing about that theory is the Traveler's World, it uses the seed 1007 2017, but in the first thing, it was just aligned differently. So basically what it does is each mountain is actually like it's not pixelated like it is in the game. It's perfectly like precise. So there's not like it's not like pixel you could like go into the decimals and go like the microscopic level and there will still be like a smooth line that like curves around. Because of how like the noise generation works. I think this is like basic level understanding. But basically what it does is it doesn't represent the mountain completely. It just steps ahead it goes to one unit and then it adds a coordinate, not a decimal, but like a whole integer, and then adds another whole integer and another one. So what you're seeing represented on screen is not the actual mountain. It is a representation of it that is scanned. The actual shape of the mountain just kind of lays in between those dots that are scanned. So it's like, think of it like a topographical map. If you went into the center of the kilometer and then saw how tall that one area of the map was, then you used that to map the mountain. Well, there could be lots of deviations. So like, let's say that maybe there's like a small little valley where the severed thing is, but because that's where the scanning was located, then it's going to make it look like there's just no mountains there, when in reality, it's connected like it always was. So that would mean that the fish, while it looks like it is severed and is looking like Australia, it is actually still a solid fish underneath in the noise generation. But the representation that we have just makes it look like Australia and New Zealand.
Dang.
Also, lightning's just wrong.
Well, I have to say it's kind of hard to argue with what you just put forward, Super. That's pretty convincing.
Well, thank you.
We'll see how Lightning responds to that after he listens to this. I think one more thing we should mention is the poll that was conducted, because we wanted to settle matters between the majority of the travelers' population.
I'm pretty
and their
sure that
opinions on it.
poll was rigged. Just saying.
Right. So we need to establish that the poll was in fact rigged. Although Australia did win, apparently Super's friends sabotaged it. So
I posted on a Discord and told them to vote for Spawnfish, and then they voted for Australia to spite me. So
right. So if anyone is thinking of using that as ammunition, that has been null and voided.
debunked. Get owned, Lightning WB. So in conclusion, it's a
Wait.
Spawnfish.
No, we can still call it a spawnfish. The name Spawn Australia doesn't sound right, but it is Australia because you see, what we see is what we get. We don't look at all the other stuff.
So what you're saying is that seeing is believing.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
saying it's both the Spawnfish and Spawn Australia at the same time, which is a bold stance, and I
That is. I respect
Fairly
respect that.
radical.
No, it's not spawnfish. It's the name can be spawnfish, but it's still Spawn Australia.
Okay.
well, I mean, that's basically saying it's both. I mean,
That's a bit confusing, but I mean that's a good compromise. I don't know if I'll settle for compromise, but it is a good compromise if I were to settle for compromise.
oh, this is scorched earth. There is no compromise.
But I will admit, it's a spawnfish that does look like Australia, but that is of pure coincidence, as is clearly a fish.
Exactly.
How long have we been talking about spawnfish? I swear.
Probably like 15 minutes
Literally
now.
since the game launched. Oh.
Not wrong.
Probably too long considering the subject matter, but that's the Travelers Podcast for you.
No, this is the most important subject
I
matter.
agree. I agree with that.
That's what we're titling this. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, Toro's engagement? Nah, spawnfish. I'm just kidding. That's very important. I'm sorry, Toro. We're very happy for you.
We are very happy for you. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm. If that's all, you've been listening to the Travelers Podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
Peace
See
out.
ya.
Bye.
See ya.